What's up, guys? It's Matt Jackson and Clay Smith, and we are the Wash Bros. Thanks for tuning in. I know this is you guys were kind of waiting for a while. We got slammed in our businesses, and now we're finally catching back up. So this is season 2, episode 32. You want to kick this thing off, Clay, and kind of fill in the blanks of what's been going on the last month or so?
Yeah, we have had a lot of good feedback, a lot of people asking where we've been. And like Matt said, we've been a little busy, got a little slammed in personal lives and work lives. Obviously, we do this during our free time to help everybody across the world with the pressure washing industry. We are very thankful for everybody that listens to us, that follows our knowledge, and everybody that shoots us messages, asks us questions. Obviously, we try to help the best we can. I know I've got a bunch of phone calls last year, or well, it's still this year, about different things that we might get help with and stuff like that. And eventually, we're going to work on some things that where you don't have to call us, where we have some stuff that you can look at, some content you can look at, to where you can kind of, if you need something, you can click on that tab, and then obviously it's just like going to Google, but you get to get it from a more personal perspective from somebody that's already been there, and it's not AI, and it's something that we've been through, something we've already stumbled across, struggled through, and all that mess. So wherever you're at right now, we've more than likely been through it because well, this is my fifth full year, going on fifth full year. I think Matt's sixth or seventh full year. We've probably already been through it. We learn every day. There's still some things that I struggle on that I need to work on, and I'm not afraid to admit that. I'm not perfect. I'm not your internet guru that's going to say I live $1 million lifestyle and have a multi-million-dollar business because that's not me yet. We're going to try to get there. We're going to keep digging that way, and we can tag you, bring you along on our journey, and you can listen, you can grow with us, you can learn with us, and we can share all the knowledge about equipment, all the processes about business, and all that mess. But it's a slow season now. It's one of the seasons that I look forward to during the year because we're so busy. If you're kind of a one man guy with another guy like me, we run two trucks during busy season and try to run it as long as we can. And then I'm taking all the phone calls, I'm doing all the quotes, I'm still washing houses, and obviously I look forward to this time of the year, but you may not look forward to this time of the year if you have not financially set yourself in the right place because it can definitely take a toll on you.
Exactly right. Yeah, it's case in point back to what Clay was saying, how like we aren't the internet gurus saying that we do this, this, and this, and have multiple $1 million of all this from kind of you can get the gist. Everybody's selling the dream, but like the reality of the situation is like, hey, we're not that much farther ahead of you. We took like a month or a half off just because like we had some issues. Like my computer went to shit, honestly, and I'm just now getting that cleaned up. And we also got slammed in our business. Like I did 2 commercial projects that ate up a decent amount of time, but it was like 50 grand in commercial work that landed in the fall. So that was pretty sweet doing TPO roof washing. Had to kind of sort for that. It was probably 8 days on the roof with my guy. We were banging that thing out. And then we were up in North Carolina doing a project, industrial warehouse inside, outside, kind of like nuances you got to learn. Like Clay says, we're not ChatGPT over here. There's no blueprint. We could say, oh, I've personally never cleaned around like electrical inside of a building, and then fire alarm systems and all that kind of stuff. You learn on the fly. So that's kind of the value add of what we're doing here with the Wash Bros. And it's nice to have the slower season so we can kind of be human, refresh, and kind of deliver the value and what we've learned in this like short sabbatical we've had from you guys.
Yeah, I thought I was the only one that knocked off a fire alarm this year, but apparently not. So we definitely I think I hit it off first, and I got to teach Matt a little something. Not really teach him, but tell him my experience with it, and it kind of helped him a little bit with his job. So that's the cool thing about putting your ego aside, mingling with other pressure washers. Even if I mean sometimes there's even guys in our area that they don't even want to talk to you. They think it's a dog eat dog world, and we're out to get them, and that's not the case. We're here to help everybody if you want to listen. If you're going to act like you know everything, I don't really care to talk to you. But it's just one of those things, if you want to get around like-minded people, whether, I mean, even if it's another home service based type guy, I mean, if they do plumbing, if they do anybody that serves the home service, the home service industry, anybody that does that type of work, they're good to mingle with.
Exactly right. And two, Clay and I's relationship, it helps us both keep our sanity because, like, you guys know, if you're in the thick of it or you're slowing down, like everybody's doing this time of year, if you don't have that camaraderie, if you don't have the kind of reassurance of, oh wait, it'll get warmer, people call us again, like we'll make money again, like it can get down and depressing. So if you guys utilize this time as Clay and I do to like really focus on clarity and driving like a good vision for our 2026, make sure that we rest ourselves and process and then spend time with our family and kids and stuff like that. Obviously that should be a priority, because as you get in business, like Clay's been in business for what, like 5 years, and I've been probably a year or two ahead of him. So like we're at that point where it's kind of like, okay, showing up, we grew this year. It looks like we're probably going to grow like maybe 10%, or 12%, depending on how December ends up. It's one of those things you're like, okay, in the beginning, the first year or two, you're like, oh, I doubled my business. Yeah, that's great. But as you kind of build your business up, you're making kind of minor adjustments because, hey, you're doing a lot of volume, you're maxing yourself out, you've got cash flow. Like it's a different beast from $0 to $100,000 than say like 400,000 to 500,000, and uh, it's just kind of different game plans you got to have for different seasons of life. And the value add of Clay and I doing this, and then like we were saying, going into the slower season, I know he said he's reaching out to commercial projects and he's got some property relationships that he's working to grow into getting like more apartments, stuff like that. That's how you really move the needle by like hundreds of thousands, as opposed to, oh, I'm gonna chase this $1,000 job down the road. And like the next, I'd say 10 weeks, 12 weeks, this is going to be that hunker down season where, yeah, get some rest, enjoy your family time, prepare for next year, but like also have a strategy and a plan. You don't want to just be sitting flat footed and then February hits and you wonder why you're no longer growing or you're not ahead.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that helped me was getting the CRM, getting all the data in place. Obviously, because we compare data all the time, me and Matt do, and you say we did X amount this month, we did X amount that month. You can see the trend throughout the year. So that's the biggest thing. I know I've said it before. Make sure you get a CRM. Make sure you start documenting that data, because I can go back to 23, 22, 21, and I can look at all the data. I can look at how many jobs I did. Okay, what was different? So last year, we're down this year in December compared to the last December, specifically because I took a step back. So, okay, what is different? What am I doing wrong? I'm not doing anything different. It's just the weather. So we're having like today it's 16 degrees outside. So obviously we can't work in that weather. So this year in South Carolina, where we are, upstate of South Carolina, the cold has moved in a lot earlier this year. So that's dragging down our leads. It's dragging down our work, and we can't even work even if we had the leads. So normally it's January when it's zilch nothing. So I'm not a conspiracy theorist or anything like that, but normally if we have the cold come through early, that means we'll have an early spring, which next year should be pretty good.
Exactly right. And to Clay's point, like we started, I had one of my trucks because my guy's trying to make as much as he can before the slower season, and then we kind of take a break, and he does something else in the time being. But so I'm trying to feed him as much as possible. He got to my house this morning at like 10. It was like 28 degrees. I have all my stuff on heaters, but there was a hose line, the feed line coming off of the main tank. There was a chunk of ice in it. So I had to meet him out at the job today, like 11, trying to defrost the water supply lines off the buffer tanks with a heat gun, and was able to do it. But again, it's kind of one of those things. Is like this is we're limited with what we can do as far as the temperatures and all that stuff. So if you're looking at your numbers, the importance of the CRM, as Clay says, is why don't be like, oh, I have to be always in the green. There's multiple factors and multiple things involved there. I know I was thinking about this year so far, and my July was kind of down, and it almost seemed like this year was an interesting year. Like my spring wasn't that impressive, but I made up for it on the back end. And I don't know if anybody in the comments or who's listening now understands or like kind of has the same thing that happened as we did, but like it was a slower winter, so I feel like it started off a little slower in the spring, and then all of a sudden, like our spring numbers weren't like overly that great. I think we did a lot of like 50s, mid $50,000 months, as opposed to like mid 60s to maybe even 70s in the years past. But we were able to have a lot more depth throughout. It seemed like June, July was our dip, and then August, September, and then we had some commercial work. So we were pumping like steady $50,000 months almost up until November. So it's a very like interesting year to look back on and reflect. And it was I mean, definitely I thought it was a successful year, but it was an interesting year. It's not the traditional like, oh, spring comes, it's overwhelming, we're making all this money. It was kind of one of those reverse years to me. Like you always think the spring is where it's at by July. Like if you hadn't hit your goal, you're not going to hit your goal. And it was almost flipped this year. So I don't know if that was the same situation with you, Clay, but it just seemed like the year took off a little later than anybody really anticipated.
It was more steady throughout the year this year than busy, if that makes any sense. I had one really busy month, and that was June, where it was overwhelming, but it wasn't an overwhelming spring, as you said, for multiple few months. So definitely understand what you're saying there, and don't really know the cause of it. I haven't switched anything up. I don't know the economy, maybe. There's no telling what it could be, but it's this is another good thing. You know, you mingle with other guys and you see the same trends. It's almost like all the customers get together and they have a powwow and then they say, okay, this is when we're going to get our shit done.
No doubt. It's funny because I'll send Clay messages of bad leads I'm getting, and he sends me the same message request from the same person. So we're all kind of fighting
We're
for
all getting the same.
scraps.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And then if you've been following us since the beginning, you know that I always say in the spring you're getting ready for the winter, and in the winter you're getting ready for the spring. So that's kind of like what Matt said. We were talking earlier. What I've been working on. I've been doing a lot of office work, looking at my marketing numbers, seeing about if I need to switch those up. If there's anything that I need to change, maybe if I want to try to send postcards this year, if I want to try to target some of my data that I already have with my clients that I already have in my system, because everybody that sends a submits a form through my website, they get put in my CRM. And I know I've said it before. I've talked with Matt about it. But if you do that, you're basically throwing away money if you're not putting them in your CRM, because they may not hire me this year because my price was too high or whatever. But they may have went with a cheaper guy and they wasn't happy with the cheaper guy, and there's a reason he was cheap, right? So, and there's been many instances that me and Matt have been talking, and you know, the prior year I'd washed Linda's house, and then the next year comes around and Matt's washed Linda's house. So you just never know. These customers get tossed around more than you think. Your customers are not loyal to you. You may have a few loyal customers, but not every single customer is going to be loyal. And it's
Exactly.
your job. And you know, one of the things that I do everything that I can to make sure that I create somewhat of a personal relationship with these customers. Make sure you're giving them something in their hand. I always give a customer a business card when I greet them. That way, I at least have a business card laying around that they look at all the time. Maybe, who knows? They may throw it in the trash, right? But you're at least going that extra mile to have leave some kind of something of you left. It's almost like a dog marking its territory.
That's a good idea. I get asked for cards all the time, and when I actually pulled up today on my employee to help him defrost the hose, the there's a guy out there asking for a business card. So like if you're like me and you're like slack on the business cards, I mean to Clay's point, that could be something. You hand them a business card, they put it on their fridge, or say they're an older generation, they're not going to look at Google, they're not going to remember you, they're not going to check your email. So that's something I'm slacking on that I probably need to implement with giving my guys trucks. I'm like, yo, yeah, well, just take a picture of my truck. But I mean, if somebody has a card, they put it on their desk, they're gonna use that card again. So it's something like Clay says, something tangible. We live in the internet, the digital world, but if you can still bring that tangibility back of having a physical card, you're separating yourself.
Right. Yeah. And the other thing, you know, is going back to the car thing, if it ends up in a junk drawer or something like that, they may come across you when they're doing their spring cleaning. They're inside spring cleaning and say, okay, there it is. That's what I was saying. Like, mark your territory, do something, just go the extra mile. It may not work half the time, but the other half that it does work, that's extra business for you. You know, if you don't have a CRM and you're not sending the emails, the yearly emails or the monthly newsletters or whatever, to be able to keep up with your customers. Because that's the main thing. You can have all the customers you want wrote down in your notebook. You can have them wrote down wherever. You can have them saved in your CRM. But if you're not reaching out to these people, touching these guys every month, every 6 months, every year, whatever it is, 9 times out of 10, somebody else might be getting your customer.
Exactly right. For us is pretty much follow up with them until it's the sales expression, until they buy or they die. But oftentimes people let you know. In this type of business, you don't have to worry about harassing somebody because they can easily unsubscribe from your email list, or they can message you and say, hey, look, can you remove me from your list because I have moved? And we get that here and there because a lot of times people are using us to like prep their house for moving and they're no longer at that address. So we don't want to necessarily blow somebody up if they've left the state, but more times than not, like I'll use MailChimp. I know Clay uses MailChimp. I'll run campaigns maybe like once a quarter. So not too terribly often. A lot of times my CRM with House Call Pro, I'll set like a year follow up and an 18-month follow up. So if like yearly follow up doesn't work, the 18-month one will sometimes hit them in a different season. So say they got their house cleaned in summer of 2019 instead of summer of 2020, it'll hit them at like the fall season or something like that, just because it's a little bit off opposites. And I've noticed that a lot of times, like more times than not, people aren't going to respond, but it's just like I'll get a reply to an email that was automated, and that's no time out of your day or out of my day of just my system sending out emails to the however many 4 or 5 thousand contacts we have in our system.
And
And
what and once you know how to work the system, it's literally 5 minutes to set it up. It takes you no time to set up an automated email.
exactly right. And that helps us with our review game as well. It also helps us with stuff like I know Clay, last year you did the best in the upstate, and this year I did the best in the upstate. Say there's like these kind of trivial awards. If it's great for marketing, like you kind of can put it on your website, you put it on your truck, and then like it doesn't matter if you win it every year. It's like it's on there. People kind of respect that for what it is. You got a huge customer base. You can send out, hey, vote for us, vote for us, vote for us. Not only are you making money on stuff, but you're able to use your list to kind of help you win awards. And so that's something, even if they don't directly use you or they don't need to use you anymore, if they like supporting you, they could just say, I'll vote for you. And we've done that a few times. And then I've sent out email campaigns and I've had like 150 opens to something like that. So you can say, all right, well, if I'm just sending my Facebook friends a link to this and say vote for me, after the third time I do that, they're going to be tired of it. But if I can send it to my customer list and out of 3,000 emails or 2,000 emails, 150 open it, I'm probably going to have like 100 people have clicked and voted. So stuff like that helps you as you want to like really solidify and build your brand in the community, or say you add on other services. I know I was playing around with adding painting. Got a contractor that is kind of good at painting, but then as I was looking at things, I was overcomplicating it. So I'm probably going to pull back on outwardly advertising for painting. But I just sent out an email and I had like 20 people reach out since 6 months of me having the service, kind of based upon emails where they said, oh, I noticed you sent an email saying you do painting. I like a quote. So like the home services, like Clay was mentioning, you talk to guys who are also in the home services. We're all kind of farming the same customers. So what works with them works with us, and vice versa. We just apply it to like what we're doing individually. And so to the point of that, like that CRM, we may do pressure washing, but say you want to open a junk removal company down the road, or you want to open something, or Christmas lights, that's a popular thing. You can farm that same list. So like this time of year, go through that list, kind of dial everything out, and then like it's extremely important to keep that data and keep your customers. But to Clay's point, you could have it written down in a notebook, but if you aren't actively farming that list, it's irrelevant because they have no idea who you are.
100%. It's very important. It's something. It's basically sales 101. It's something I learned a long time ago, which because I was in the sales. I mean, my background is sales and that kind of mess, and that's helped me out a lot with my business since the beginning. But definitely, if you're on that road where you're saying, oh, I don't need to advertise. I work off word of mouth, blah 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 blah. You're never going to get to where you actually want to go. You're doing the bare minimum. So if you really care about your business, you care about getting more work, you want to make more money, you want to grow your business, marketing is a huge part of that.
Exactly right. And I feel that with the economy as well as the competition in the space of pressure washing, if you aren't actively like trying to do everything you possibly can to grow your book of business and to hustle and to make money, you're just going to be severely behind and you probably have to close your doors. It's not one of those industries that are really forgiving to laziness. And we don't mean, oh, you're lazy because you don't want to like go pressure wash for 10 hours a day. Like we mean, are you actively working on your business? Not actively working like in your business as a technician. I've got my guy Ryan, he's been with me since 2023. He's probably washed 1,500 homes. So he's washed more homes than most owner operator type guys out there. And his job is solely show up and work. And like his expertise is cleaning the house. And he's great at cleaning the house and he's great at the customer service. That frees up my time to be able to work on the business, meaning like make sure all the automations are set up, make sure the marketing's good, coordinate with video guys to have videos at the job sites, kind of run the business as like the businessman. And to the point of what I'm trying to make here is like we push so hard, we spend a lot of money that Clay and I probably outspend majority of our market in marketing and hustling and doing all that stuff. And I was only able to grow like 10% this year. So it's like if I chose not to do any of that, I would be down probably $50,000. So it's one of those things, it's not an ego thing. It's like if you're not actively pushing forward, you're going to be replaced by somebody. And there's so many guys that start out super hot, super strong, super ambitious, and 3 years into the game, they're disappeared. Or they say, hey, buddy, I'm going to shut down my pressure washing. Would you want my work? And then I sub you the work. Like we see that happen all the time. Or they're trying to sell their business. And if you sell your business and say, oh, I was able to do $600,000 a year with me in the business, and there's no systems in place, somebody's going to buy that business and only going to be able to do half of that. And they're going to be like, this is not a real thing. Like you sold me a scam. So a lot of people, like in order to get out of this business space, like you got to really focus on pushing and building that brand. And like we say in every single episode, this is the time of year, like you want to stay in front of your customers. You want to plan for the spring.
This is definitely when the consistency pays off.
Exactly right. And I noticed too with AI and stuff like that on search algorithms or search things, like it's starting to pick up Instagram. It's starting to pick up Facebook. So AI is generating this massive detail and information about your company. So post those jobs with the locations of those jobs, post those pictures of your crew, post like specific information so the internet can scrub everything and build that profile for you. Because like I can ask on my phone on like Google Gemini, it's like, who should I hire to pressure wash my house? And it will give you recommendations. And if you're actively posting, actively doing stuff, that is the new word of mouth. So like you need to get ahead of this and build that online database for yourself. And eventually it sells itself.
Definitely. That's the part I hate. I can't lie. Consistently posting, whether you sit down during a Sunday afternoon and go ahead and schedule these posts, whatever you got to do to make it work. I mean, I'm my own worst enemy with posting stuff. I've gotten kind of lazy with that myself. So it's a good thing we're talking about it. I need to get back with it. But definitely what Matt's saying, when you are consistently posting, that Google updates what every month. It seems like it's almost every week. So you definitely want to stay on top of all the trends with Google. Make sure all of your links are on there. You're posting every day. So when Google does scrape that data, it's going to pay off for you.
Exactly right. And another thing too, like the different levels, like I've got a virtual assistant and I think he's paid off a lot in the sense of he's able to answer the phone for me. So like LSA calls, he can pick up for that and kind of screen a lot of spam. So if you think about how often you guys are trying to like actively work in your business on stuff and then the phone's always ringing and you're like, oh, if I don't pick it up, it's probably an LSA call that's going to cost me $50 or that's money. Like you can invest in virtual assistants. They're not terribly expensive. It's almost like an office person. And I find the great value out of that is like the consistency of posting because I'm not going to sit here and edit pictures out. And you can see, because my guy kind of does some of the Wash Bros stuff too, where it's like, hey, just consistency matters in the long run more than like, oh, that post was super perfect and super great. Because like you could say, oh, wow, like I see them in my feed. I see them posting about this or that. I'm not overanalyzing every little detail of a post. So if you guys are not sure what to post, use AI, use ChatGPT, but make sure that you put enough human element into it. And then you just kind of discuss, think about when you're posting, post how you want somebody to like search Google or perceive you. So don't just say, here's me like pressure washing. Be like, here's me pressure washing a house in this neighborhood that I want to be in. Or here's me pressure washing a commercial building in this neighborhood I want, or in this area I want to be in. Make it specific so Google or Facebook or even random people that are watching your account see that and say, oh, wow, if he can do that, I want him.
Most definitely. I mean, you guys can see our wash brush stuff. Obviously, if anybody wants to look for a pressure, if they're getting into pressure washing, they want to look up the pressure washing podcast. I haven't personally looked at it, but I can imagine if you were to Google a pressure washing podcast, we're probably up there in the top somewhere just because of our consistent posts of what Matt's guys doing for us.
Exactly. Yeah, consistency is everything. So,
But yeah,
but
man, I think I've about covered everything that I've been through or whatever with the slow season. I'm sure in the next episode we can cover a little more about what we're doing to get through the cold season and the slow season and what we can do to set ourselves up for spring and all that mess. But I'm glad that we're back.
me too. I kind of restructured a little bit in the background, so I'm working on making my garage like a little bit cooler for videos. I'm getting like a racing simulator, so hopefully it's one of those things. Optimize the man cave for work and play. But yeah, you guys, thanks for tuning in. And I know this is like the week before Christmas, so get what you can in before the holidays. Christmas week, usually it's a little slow washing wise, but that's great to spend time with your family. That's great to kind of prioritize what you want to do and who you want to be in 2026. We'll probably do another episode last week of December and help with like what we're strategically doing to prepare for next year and get all of our goal setting and all that stuff then. But as Clay says, like give us a follow on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, go to our Facebook page, etc. Comment and share what you got. So, but
Yeah,
yep,
appreciate you guys listening.
yep. If that's everything, I'm gonna drop the outro, and we'll see you guys next week or the following week.